everyone. G'day, good morning and good evening, whatever time of the day it is for you. I'm so excited that you're all here. There are going to be applicants coming on board. Thanks to Abbott, he's going to be letting them in as we are starting our meeting together. So we've already had the first of 3 sessions for the Innovator Open Chat. The July the 9th went off with success, and now we are up to the second session. So I should be actually presenting this, I suppose, make it look a bit more professional. It's customary for Australians to stop, pause, and consider, the traditional owners of this, the traditional custodians of this land. So I'd just like to stop for this moment and acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land. I acknowledge their elders, past, present, and emerging, who were and continue to be the storytellers of this ancient land and its people. We are Global GEG. This is a Global GEG event. We are not Google. We are a volunteer education group of people who work in a professional learning community, if you like, right around the world. We are GEG leaders and co-leaders and members, and we aspire to empower and inspire educators in whatever way we can in an environment where we can share and learn. So meet our hosts. I'm Leslie Altman. I'm Sydney 19 cohort, and Maria is from Sydney 19. She's from Victoria. Say hi.
Hi guys. Hi, I'm from Lakes Entrance, so regional Victoria.
So we're both GEG leaders in our region, but we are also part of Global GEG. So our agenda this evening is we want to give an overview of the Innovator Academy that's coming up, and I really would love Chris Betcher and Jess, that she's here, to be able to contribute here as well. This is really an open forum, and I'd love your input there. We're just going to do that quickly for about 10-12 minutes. Then we're going to hear from any innovators that are here online. Then we're going to have a look at a challenge jam. I lifted that idea from the last year's Virtual Innovator Academy preparation, and also the Q&A doc that has been used for this VIA 21 webinar. They're really great ideas, and we have created new ones, and we want to be able to use those as well. So the online Virtual Innovator Academy, or VIA 21, it's going to run for about 8 weeks, and it will be delivered in English, but your coaches will be regional, and that they will be able to focus on the language in your region. The sessions will be run for about 3 hours each week on a Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. I chose this 7 p.m. in some wild mad moment, thinking that 7 p.m. on a Friday would really suit Maria and I. And we, it is suitable for us, but really that's the time that the academies are going to run. When we asked for people to register, we asked, what do you really need? We wanted to be able to gather the information so that you would be able to walk away with some answers. And I know when I attended the webinars for the the Sydney 19 webinars, it was so helpful to be able to listen to other innovators. So Maria's going to put the link of the VIA 21 webinar that was held by the Canopy team in July, and go back and look at that link and be able to copy that link and use it for yourselves. When you start your application, I didn't try and make these very clear because you probably started already, and make sure that your email matches your the email that you used for your level 2 certificate, because this is the one that's going to be used for your Innovator and your level 2. And also add your mailing address there, because you never know, you might get some goodies in the mail upon your successful application. It's scored by Innovators, and the scoring process is very thorough, and each of these have been gone through with an Innovator team. So just a reminder, sign in with your Google account that you've used for your level 2 exam. It's really a great way to add your information, because the form is set up in such a way that you can save your information and come back to it later on. And if you're messy like me, then I just pulled out all of the questions and put it on a Google Doc, and went through and built that response on a Google Doc. The online advocacy is an important but not a huge part of the Innovator application process. It depends which social media that you use. In some countries, Facebook is the one that's used the most, or Instagram in Europe, or Twitter in UK, Australia, and the US. It's really looking at what your reach might be, and it's also like if you're using blogs or websites to connect with your community, this is a place that you can add that as well. The history of transformation. The Innovator program is built on a whole history of the way you've been innovated. They want to see, what has been the history of transformation in your school, perhaps in your district, or even in your GEG. And find the links. If you're going to add any links to share the work that you've done, please make sure that the links work for anyone in the world, because the people who are scoring your work are not from your school domain, or not, they are from outside your domain. And it's a really good idea to test those links in the incognito window, and also share it with a friend that's not even in your domain. It's a really good idea to share it with a friend, because they can say, I don't understand what you mean. Well, that's a really good idea. There's the, sorry, that's a bit blurred there. There's the creativity aspect. I think people are very creative in their nature. If you can think of any Google workspace ideas that you perhaps want to see a new feature that you might want to see in the next 5 years, this is a great place to put. I had some fun putting some work in there as well. What's the next one here? Defining a challenge. Describing a challenge that you're currently experiencing. This is your new challenge. This has nothing to do with the history of transformation that you have been involved with in your school or district or GEG or whatever educational community. So it doesn't have to be a classroom specific, but it does have to relate to education. It's what you want to pursue in the academy. When you get to the academy, and we really, wish you all the best of luck and wish that you could get through to the academy, because it's an incredible experience that you can ideate, you can do your 10x thinking, you can create a prototype, and you're working with people who are going to share that problem or challenge with you. Remember not to put any solutions in there, and the solution could be as easy as, oh, well, I want to promote visible thinking and maybe I could do it using videos. That's a solution. So there's no point in you going. This is an incredible experience, and you'll find your solutions. It's all shared in that academy. I found that this experience really, really helpful to fine-tune my challenge. And the design thinking process is that once you have a challenge in mind, you can see something that's really worrying you and you really want to make a difference for education, for the people who are in that educational environment, you are able to interview one person that represents that group. And there are great ideas there to be able to help you formalize your 20 words maximum. And there is a cutoff point. And, I did a lot of creative rewording to get it in there. I had to do a lot of Kondo Marie work to get that all under 150 or a 20 or 130 words. The how might we statement comes next. Once you've had your challenge and you've worked through, you've worked out, you know, shown empathy for that person who is really facing that challenge, then you can narrow it down and focus on a how might we statement. And we've got a Jamboard ready for you to have a look at some of those ideas. And then there's the video. And I think that scares a lot of people, although it may not scare the people who have been through all of the COVID times of creating videos to connect with your educational environment. Because, you know, like the video is a way to show who you are. It's a 90-second video, and the suggested format is 30 seconds to introduce yourself and do be on screen, because, you know, we want to see who you are, and 60 seconds to articulate your challenge. 10 minutes is not going to work because it's going to be cut off at the 90-second mark. So you really need to bring it in a compact way and introduce yourself and introduce your challenge. No solutions at all. So I'm going to stop here for a moment and stop sharing if I work out how to do that really correctly. So there's Jess and there's Chris here. So are there any points that you want to address there that I've probably completely missed with the application? The application is so really well set out, and I just found it so comforting that I could save it and walk away and go, aha, I'll have to think about that.
I'll let Chris.
There's no questions in the Q&A, Leslie, so we can all go home now. Nobody has any questions.
All right. Okay. So there is a Q&A doc. Maria's put the Q&A doc in. We're going to address that in the last 10 minutes. We'll go home early.
I was going to say, Leslie, the extra 30 seconds on the video from when I had to do it, that's actually absolute gold for those guys.
We thought so too from Sydney 19. We thought, what? They got an extra bit the next year. Yeah, I agree with you, Brian.
When I did mine, I was before the teacher sorry, I was before it was the Innovator Academy. It was the Teacher Academy, and so there was a completely different set of criteria. But I remember when I made my video, I thought, what's the most creative way I can do this? And mine was a whole bunch of like animated screen grabs of all the different things you can do with Google tools, and then sort of sped up, and I wrote my own music for it and everything else. So it was an entirely different, but that's what it was not the point. The point is it was meant to grab someone's attention so that they go, ooh, I want to know more about this person. And really that's the message that comes from the video, is not just like, just watch it back yourself. I said this last time we met, watch it back yourself and ask yourself, would you want to watch that video? Right. And if you don't want to watch it, nobody else wants to watch it either. Right. So just try and use video as an engaging medium to tell the story of both you and your idea.
Yeah, I agree, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to see so many people here. Oh, sorry. Go on. I interrupted Maria. No, I just was going to say it's so great to see people from so many different experiences here. So it's a really wonderful accumulation of perspectives of like Chris and I, who are in the academies way back, and then the VIA 20 people are probably going to give some of the best perspectives here because they've done it most recently and went through the process very similarly, and then all of the other awesome cohorts in between. So no, yeah, I just thought this is the place to be if you need info.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jess, because it's I learned a lot when I went to the Innovator webinars back in 2019. And that's what I wanted to replicate, not take over, but replicate and add another opportunity for people to go and listen to, you know, the Real Innovator Academy webinar, and then have another place to have that chat and chat about the application and the videos. So, Maria, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, don't worry about all the bells and whistles. It's really, really important to show your personality, your passion. that's what is really going to catch the eye of the judges.
And there's been a little bit of a chat here on the side here about what tool do I use for the video. It doesn't matter, because it's best to have it uploaded into YouTube. To share that YouTube, please make sure that the YouTube link is either unlisted or published, so the scorers can see that, because no scorer will ever email you and say, this is looking good, but I can't get that link. It will not happen. So any kind of tool can be used as long as it follows that advice of 90 seconds and that it has a URL that can be shared.
I'll add something in there. I had to give a little talk for something else the other night, and I was drawing an analogy between the fact that when the Beatles did the album cover for Abbey Road, that there was more than one photo taken. Like the photographer who took that actually took a whole bunch of photos and then picked the best one. And the lesson in that is you never get anything right first go, right? And so I saw a comment in there from someone about from Stuart saying, finding it hard not to appear wooden. I'll tell you how you don't appear wooden in a video. You don't use your first take trying to get it perfect. Right? If you have a script and you're trying to read the script and try and make it look like your eyes aren't actually moving and you're trying to sort of be very proper and everything else, it's going to come across as wooden. Just be you. And the way you do it with you is you record it once and you go, that was crap, and you throw it away and you do it again and you do it again and you do it again and you do it again. And by the time you've done about your 15th take, you're starting to feel natural. Trust me on this.
Yeah, my little tip about that as well, I used Screencastify and Adobe Spark. So I did it in short little sections. So it was easy for me to, one, repair it if I needed to, but also easy to just speak freely rather than something really long.
Yeah, Spark Video is a great option because, like you say, it's short chunks and it's a great storytelling option.
Absolutely. And the more you practice, the more you know it and the more you turn it into your own language. And, we want to see you being you.
I think the other thing about the Spark thing is obviously you've got 30 seconds per slide, which means you can go back. You can put the whole thing together, hate one bit, go back and redo that bit and don't have to do the whole thing again. It's fantastic. So,
Someone asked before, like, what tool should you use? You can use anything. As long as the finished product is a piece of video, it doesn't matter. Like Spark is great. If you're new to video and you don't know much about it, you don't use it much, Spark is great. WeVideo is nice and simple. iMovie, if you've got an iPad, is really simple. If you want to go the whole hog and use Final Cut and do something really fancy, that's great too. Doesn't really matter. It's the finished product that just tells a little bit of a story about you and your idea.
Loom's another one to throw in the mix there as well.
Yeah.
Do you remember the one? Is
that...
another one to throw in the mix there as well.
Yeah, Loom's not bad too. I mean, it just depends what you want to do. I would say that if it's just your talking head for 90 seconds, that's probably going to get real old real quick, right? So mix it up with like different shots, different angles, throw in a screenshot, capture some interesting work that you've done, or just like I said, just produce something that in the end you'd want to watch.
And inevitably too, what happens is that like Chris was saying, like, you want to have your eye on the camera and you want to do multiple takes, but eventually you're going to have that line or two that you definitely want to have in there and you just can't get it out unless you read it. That's a great time to lay that screenshot over or something like that, or that graphic over at that point, and then have the other parts clean where you're just talking. Yeah.
Hey, little tip for you. If you really find that you have to use a script, like if there's a bunch of stuff you want to say and you have to use a script, there's a Chrome extension called, I'll look it up in a sec, but it's a screen, it's like a, what do they call that? An auto cue. It's like an auto cue thing, and it just scrolls up on the screen. So you put your text in there, make the font big enough so you can read it, and then you can put it. And when I had to do that, all I did was set up the screen and then set up the camera. I often use a GoPro because it's nice and easy. But so long as the camera is really close to the auto cue stuff, and then you sit further back from it so you're looking at a distance and people can't see your eyes moving. Where it looks really bad is if you've got your script on a computer on the side, down beside you on the desk, and you're constantly doing this. That looks really bad. Don't do that.
I always like to put up this photo that my Innovator video was the first video I ever recorded of myself, and I didn't have the first idea how to edit videos or anything like that. And exactly what Chris was saying, I was getting so annoyed by the fact that I just constantly saw my eyes reading my script. So I literally took an old laptop trolley that we had at school, and I printed out my script in big text on an A4 piece of paper, and then put some books there, and then I leaned my iPhone against the books, and then it literally took me about 20 takes to just work out where I needed to stand, which is why I then put the masking tape on the floor to say, right, that's where I need to stand. And then it took me another 50 takes or something to just stop stumbling over my words reading the script. But and also I had a really creaky door outside in the corridor which people just kept opening, and for some reason the microphone just wanted to pick that up over my voice. So I finally got it done when there was like a minute's worth of silence. But that's just some fun, innovative ways of recording the video if you haven't got anyone to hold the camera for you.
Exactly. Thanks, Abid. That's great. I mean, that's a great setup. I love that picture. Russell says that he likes the extension. He's going to go away with it straight away now, and he's going to start using that for an EdTech presentation tomorrow. Good on you, Russell.
Yeah. I almost hate the fact, though, that whenever we talk about this stuff, the video stuff seems to dominate 90% of the conversation, and it shouldn't, because it's not 90% of the
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we put a far too great an emphasis on it. Like, yes, it has to be interesting. Yes, it has to be like not entertaining, but it has to be attention grabbing. And yes, you should tell a bit about your story and tell a bit about your idea. But it's the idea that matters, not some Cecil B. DeMille production talking about it, right? So just, get the video nailed and get on with it, but don't focus on it to the point where it's become sort of all-consuming, because it's not the all-consuming thing. Your idea is the big thing.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. That's a really good point. And people worry about the social media aspect. Like, I don't have a lot of followers. I mean, most of us, when we talked at Sydney 19, some of us only had like 100 or 200 people following, but we were adding value to our stream, and it was a case of being able to reach out and learn how to reach out. So the challenge is most important, and that's the one to focus on. So if I went to the next slide here, which means I have to present because I'm doing things unusual, messed up. That's me. So what we wanted to point out was that this is a competition to get to the Innovator Academy. And I know some cultures, and I was talking to Sonia, and she was pointing out about the cultural aspect of competition in some countries, because there are so many people. It's the only way you can get ahead. Compete. So once you get into the Innovator Academy, it's not a competition anymore. It's a collaborative workspace where people are open to help each other. And look at this space. We are here to help you. We are here in our own time to help you. And the Innovator community is a very powerful and strong community. And it doesn't matter what year you went to and what academy you went to, you belong to that. These are your people. And I love the way one of our founders at Global GEG, she was asked this on screen, and Bonnie Chillette from Louisiana, she was asked, what's it like to be an innovator? Like, what's it like afterwards? And she said, it's a lifestyle. And I just love that. It's really such a great and powerful statement. So we do urge you to, once you get through this competition, to then change your mindset. This is now a collaborative space in the academy. where you are open to, sharing and working together. And I think Maria has some great points there about this.
Yeah, you're really taught when you go to Innovator Academy that the problem becomes everyone's problem. So everyone will chip in and they'll give you feedback or maybe give you suggestions of different directions you can go in. If you do not allow for that, you're really going to stunt your opportunities and your growth, both for whatever your idea is, but also for yourself professionally, because I really, really recommend when you get into Academy that you really take the opportunity of networking with people in all the different ways that you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much. I'm just going to remind you of the structure of VIA 21. Jess, you can hop in here anytime when I stray off task. Basically, it's broken down into these 4 sessions. There's the program session. It's delivered by your design coaches, and they help guide you through your project. And then there are coaching sessions delivered by your coaches from your own region, and they provide you with support each week. And there are Spark sessions delivered by coaches and Googlers. These are the fun sessions, and they spark new thoughts and ideas. And then, of course, there are the social sessions that are really important, and they're delivered by coaches and Googlers, and they help connect you with all of the VIA 21 innovators. And, of course, that's across the APAC region for this time. Maria, over to you. I'll hand over to you.
Okay, so you can see the different regions that are able to apply for this. We are so lucky to have it in this region, the only ones to be holding it this time. So you must be residing, would be the correct terminology, I'm assuming, in one of these countries to apply. So I guess if you're Australian but you're living in outside of these countries, you can't apply, right, Chris?
You cannot. Lots of people have. I'm just looking at the application list now. We've had lots of people applying from outside of APAC, but I think the problem with that is with the application form, you can start an application form before you get to the question that says it's only for APAC. So I think a lot of people have started applications they didn't finish. But we're just looking at just the APAC applications. Yes, we currently have 17 countries represented who have started an application. So it's pretty popular.
Yeah, it's exciting. Okay, then moving on to the next frame, Leslie, the deadline. You've got till the 17th of September.
I just say the reason for that, by the way, is because of time zone. That's why that is the reason why you have to be in those areas, because as we discovered in VIA 20, it's very difficult to connect when you're global and dealing with everyone in different time zones. So that was the reason for that. Sorry. Thanks.
No,
Sorry
that's
for
a good point, Jess, because it is so difficult. Like our global GEG, we tear our hair out trying to work out how to get just the founders together.
Yeah. The deadline, as I was mentioning, set the 17th of September by 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Okay. So now we welcome any innovators if they want to share some information about their journey, the application process, maybe their challenges or their wins out of it. That would be great.
So, yeah, I'd also, before people get started, I really would like you to share why you wanted to become an innovator, and did it help being an innovator? Did it help your project? And more importantly, what does it mean being an innovator now to you? Because I think, I don't want to stop people from trying to be an innovator, but it's not another badge. It's not like a level 2 or a level 1, or you get your trainer and you do your training. It's a whole different beast, and it's a really exciting venture into design thinking. And and we've also, Maria has done a fantastic job collecting a whole lot of Flipgrid responses, and we're going to share that in the video description when I get it posted. So they're the 3 questions that I really hope that you use as you're introducing yourself.
I think Kat's ready to share.
Go, Kat.
Oh, did I win putting my hand up first? Excellent.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I'm not going to lie. When I first signed up, or when I first looked at Innovator, I was thinking, I've got my Raspberry Pi certified educator. I've got my Apple Distinguished Educator. I want another badge. But actually, what I came away with was this is so much more. This is more special. There's something unique about the Innovator community. And you end up with this sort of wonderful group of friends who share your mindset as long as you go in with the right mindset. I mean, I actually went in, I went in with my problem, which was around learning difficulties, and about how there's lots and lots of different tools, but it's quite confusing for a student who has, who struggles to know which tools to use. That was my problem. What I ended up doing was a project around mental health, because one of the key things about Innovator is it's not about sticking to one thing. It's about opening your mind and exploring possibilities and helping people and solving things. And it's just, you end up on this sort of wonderful journey of creativity and coming up with wonderful ideas. And not only that, you've got this great community of friends and family. I mean, for me, the last 18 months, the only reason I've got through it has been my Innovator groups and friends and the things that have led off from that. So yeah, that's a journey of exploration. Hopefully
Yeah, thanks so much, Kat. Just, you know, in your staff room work that has been so valuable in drawing people together in the global GEG community. So it just goes on and on. It just evolves all the time.
It sort of opens you up and you become a different person because you want to, it's like you've got your original Innovator project. So many innovators are like, oh, but I've got a second project and a third project and a fourth project, because now you're in that mindset. You're looking at ways to help people.
Yeah. So Abed, you've got your hand raised nicely.
Thanks, Leslie. I think why I wanted to become an innovator was because I've been working in schools for nearly 18 years now, and I'm not a teacher. I'm an IT director, so I work in the IT side of things, and that's always been a very lonely role. For the best part of about 15 years, I was a one-man band, and effectively the only person in the organization who knew about what I do. And, you know, my manager, who would probably be the head teacher or a senior leader of some sort, would have this really big inferiority complex because they don't know how to manage me because I'm not a teacher. I'm not one of them. And so I always wanted to really have that find my people aspect of it. And I'm not saying that, you know, the Innovator community is full of non-teachers. No, not at all. But it's about finding those people who share the same mindset as you. And I feel like I've always been my passion has always been to succeed and improve education. And I feel like my voice was getting drowned out because I wasn't the one standing in front of children. Yet I felt like I had some of these great ideas that I wanted to share that, you know, would benefit, especially knowing the edtech and the IT, and more so in the pre-COVID world where, you know, so many schools around the world didn't have that you know, that IT strategy, that focus on even the thought of edtech. And so that's why my How Might We statement came about. How might we make digital transformation accessible to everyone, everywhere, and on any budget? Because for all the work that I was doing, my own children who go to schools that are 5 minutes away from the school that I work at didn't have any edtech, didn't have any IT. And as soon as you went and spoke to any school leaders about it, it was like, oh no, it costs too much. It's too complicated. We don't even like our IT guy because nothing ever works. And so that's why they never used to do that. And I wanted to show that IT was not about especially here in the UK, where you have these big corporate companies who are selling you strategies for, like, you know, tens of thousands of pounds. And I wanted to show that, look, I'm a one-man band. I've just done this at my school. It can be done everywhere, and there are so many people out there in the world who are doing it. And I think that's where, you know, that's where my passion for why I wanted to become an innovator come about. And as to what does being an innovator mean to me now, you know, the fact that we're here, the fact that all of us are here, you know, we're all giving our own time, but we're doing it out of our pure passion. And, you know, this is a global GEG meeting where we want other people to become innovators, but global GEG exists because of the innovator community.
Absolutely.
Global GEG exists because a few of us innovators who are rather crazy and wacky and just wanted to have fun and continue that experience we had in the academy, got together and we thought, you know, let's do something. And, you know, we didn't plan to do global GEG, and the pandemic probably really helped it to get to another level. But it was just, you know,
because it became like our second or third or fourth project, and as Kat said, it just keeps going on and on, and you know, like, you know, that's so true, Abbott. It's, you know, so true. And the fact that you're not an educator doesn't mean that you're not an educator. You are an educator, because you are constantly educating us in better ways to utilize technology. So thanks, Abbott, for that. That was really good. And Brian, you had your hand up next.
Well, thank you. I'm Brian. Obviously, I come in just from south of Sydney. I've been part of the Innovator program since 2017. However, I first applied in about, I think it was 2015, after watching a whole group of people that I aspire to be like do it earlier on in their career, such as Chris Betcher. And he was in my network. There was others that were in my network that I saw do this amazing program and suddenly had this career-changing moment for them. And I was inspired by that. And I was in a school which is very, very focused on using the Google tools. And I wanted to use the Google tools to the best possible means they could be, so backed by research. So my question wasn't so much around how do I use the Google tools. My question was, how do I actually, how might we inspire personalized learning using and voice and choice using things like STEM. So that wasn't articulated exactly how I articulated, but it was similar to that. So that's now continued on at my previous school, but I've now moved to another school, which isn't a Google school. However, it's very much my project from 2017 is still impacting this school, because they're now starting to talk about personalized learning. They're starting to go, how might we start engaging other tools that are out there? And there's even the question that came up last week. So tell us more about these Google tools that are out there. And it wasn't me starting that engagement.
And
that
there it is.
They're starting to go, how can we do this even better than what we currently are?
So well placed, Brian, to do that and to bring in all of that Google Workspace and bring in that STEM and incorporate it together. Thanks so much, Brian, because you're the person to do that.
Well, I'm now in that educational leadership role that I can have that influence, which is good.
Yeah, thanks, Brian, so much. You are. Juliet?
My story is more, I came in thinking I was going to look at an issue that was very close to my heart, trying to build writing communities within schools around the world, get an international global writing community happening and getting writers clubs in schools. How was I going to go about that? But I was the first one to pivot and totally toss my idea out the window after a chance meeting with another innovator called Alex McMillan from South Korea. And we got into a conversation, and it was basically about, I'd been working with the Asia Europe Foundation. I'd run a number of different projects for them, and I really wanted to do something around that too. And that's what my last project had been. And Alex got onto the idea, and we ended up with a conversation. And within this sort of 10-minute or 5-minute moment, turned everything upside down. Both of us basically dropped what we were planning. And that was the first bell that was rung for VIA 20, because we were ready to understand that you have to be ready to not be so attached to your ideas. You can't get so passionate about an idea that you actually don't see the benefit of changing when change is evidently necessary. So I've got to say, as a V, I was with Chris Hart, and frankly, I wouldn't be doing any of this if I hadn't actually had a fantastic mentor who got me through and convinced me that I needed to look at the Google certs and then go for the Innovator, which I did. And then I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for a chance meeting through Adobe, actually. But I ended up with Chris Hart as a coach, and Claire and I worked with Chris and a number of others, and we've had an absolute ball. We really supported each other. We've maintained that contact. And that's the thing I would really suggest to everybody who's considering this. Understand you're not doing it on your own. Yes, you're doing this a little bit on your own. But the other thing that I loved was, I understand that Innovator had been over 3 days, I think, a number of days in Sydney, doing things, coming together, and then it was over and you went off and did your projects. The thing about doing the project the way we did last year was you had a week to think about things. You had some deep learning taking place. You had a lot of time for reflection. You had conversations, and you had time to have fallow time for your ideas to develop further. And the conversations that you had were really key. So understand that you aren't on your own. You've got a fantastic coach. You will have a mentor. You will have your teammates who become, your second line of fire, basically. And you've got all of the past innovators. And you've got people like Chris and Leslie and Maria and past innovators who are there to really ground you when you need grounding, but also to lift you up and give you the courage to take chances you would never otherwise take. And frankly, I have done so much and moved so much further. And I'm doing a showcase on Sunday morning at some stupid hour in the morning, showing what we've done so far. So that's my bit.
Thank you so much, Juliet. That's wonderful. That's a really great outline of what it's like to be in this community. And I think Ted's next. Ted, are you still around?
Yeah, I'm still here. The day's just starting. So yep. So yeah, it's been a great experience. The Innovator thing. Like Juliet, I'm also in the VAI 20, or the VIA 20. Sorry, early. And yeah, it's the sense of community. I mean, I remember last year, before doing the application, Leslie was running these kind of sessions, and I would pop in at all kinds of hours, depending on when they were and stuff. And so when I saw the bat signal go out for Innovators to come on today and say something, I felt like I needed to give back. I wanted to be here and do that. I figure if I can get up that early for myself, I can get up early for everybody else too. So so yeah, so it's definitely a great sense of community, and along the way you realize that you can't you inevitably obviously you're not going to put any solutions down on your application at all, but you're going into the process thinking about something, right? There's some kind of project or something you want to do, and you realize that you got to kind of like open your brain up to where does it fit in the big picture? And that's kind of what happened with my project. And so I realized it was, a bigger thing and more societal and all that. And then when you're in the program, you kind of think about different ways and different things to attack it. But it was really great having the structure of having a smaller team within the academy, and having I had Susanna as my coach, and she was great. I had Devin as my mentor, and so the whole experience has been great because I got to see people with different experiences coming at it from different angles. The last quick thing is, I know you'll hear things about, people flying around all over the world and everything else, but, and I was hoping to be one of those people too. But in hindsight, doing this virtually has been absolutely wonderful. It definitely, didn't put a strain on my family, cash wise, other than making sure the high speed internet worked. And also having that, the spread out over the 8 weeks, definitely worked as well. So if you're hesitant about, hitting send on this application, definitely do it. And last thing, I applied, this is the second time I applied for Innovator and got in. And also when I was applying for trainer, it was my second time as well. So definitely, don't hesitate to hit the send button.
Yep.
Try it out and best of luck.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ted, so much. Some great wise words there. Darren, you're up next there, and we've only got about 15 minutes left. So we've got enough time for Darren and Claire and Chris, and then we'll open up the Jamboard if anybody has put any ideas in there that they want to share with us. So Darren, please.
G'day, Leslie. I can't help it. I've been watching Wentworth back to back, so everything's gone sort of proper Aussie for me. Hi, everyone. My name's Darren, at Rango the Trainer on Twitter. I was part of VIA 20. And I'll be brutally honest, had it not been for COVID, I wouldn't have applied. I started applying for Sweden, and then job and financial things got in the way, and was basically waiting for the next one to be close enough to be able to afford the time and the money to be able to do it. But VIA 20 came along, and I just thought, you know what, might as well, let's put in an application. So it was the first time I'd submitted an application, and I just basically did it. It was a bit of a one-take wonder. I just kind of put it in and thought, you know what, if that's good enough, great, and if it's not, then I know what I need to work on. It was a fantastic experience. The community has been tremendous. I was just thinking about what some of the highlights for me were, and coming back to what Juliet was saying about, not being too precious about things was a big thing. I mean, working globally, one of the biggest challenges we had, and obviously that's one of the reasons behind the change, is, the first thing we had to do was design a logo for our cohort. And when you're trying to do that over a 24-hour period where people are asleep and not sharing their opinions, you get a bit of a roll going in the chat rooms and all that kind of thing. You think, yeah, we're all going in one direction here. And then everyone goes to bed, and you wake up and you find that the rest of the world's been up, and they've taken it in a completely different direction. And it takes a while to kind of get your head around that, but it's a really good learning curve. So that, and the other thing as well, we talked a lot about the coaches and the mentoring and all that kind of thing, but also being assigned your affinity buddy was really, really useful, because that gave me and my buddy Ian the opportunity to kind of sound each other out, be very objective towards each other's problems and potential solutions, offer different perspectives, because there wasn't any connection between our two projects at all. So it was a completely kind of like step out the box, have a look from the outside, a really, really good exercise from that point of view. So really something to look for. And yeah, I didn't actually go to bed. Some people did. It was brilliant. And, my project as a result of it has changed massively. I started off with how might we focused around how we can help teachers feel more confident using technology in the classroom. And actually that quickly developed to then being support staff using technology just in school in general, to then being school leavers and looking at how they use technology differently in the workplace to how they would use it in school. And I'm now working on a version which is kind of like primary to secondary transition of the use of technology and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it just keeps rolling on, doesn't it, Darren?
Yeah.
It just, here's your next project, and you've got confidence to be able to move ahead and do that. And I mean, it really does change you being an innovator. So each
Definitely.
one of you have given that that example. And Claire's up next, and then we've got Chris. So Claire.
Thanks, Leslie. Look, I agree with everything everyone else has said. Last year, it was just the most incredible experience. We were in lockdown. I'm in Melbourne, so we were in lockdown for the whole thing, which was great in a way because it gave us a little bit more time to sit behind the computer. But having agreed with everyone else, the one thing I would like to just really focus on is the fact that most of us, in fact, all of us, are generally the people that apply, are leaders already in our schools in terms of leading the way in new things and challenging our thinking. So the one thing I really found was so true, it was finding your people and actually getting the opportunity rather than leading the training and all those sorts of things at school and leading the ideas and the new projects that happen and starting things. It was just to get your own fire reignited and to be able then to go, I've really found my passion, because after a while when you are the one out the front driving the bus, quite often you run out of petrol. And it's not often that we get the petrol fed back to us in the same way because we're the ones that are always giving in that situation. So that was really huge for me, and to find my people. And I mean, Jules and I were talking only yesterday, and Luke I was talking to from Adelaide this morning. We ring each other all the time. We connect via Twitter. I talk to all of the people I met. So it is a big family, and it carries on. So it's
that's exactly what I wanted to draw out and show people who are going to watch this video or who are here already and who are applying. There is this sense of competition to get there, but once you get in there, you don't separate, you don't work in corners of the room and hide your project. It becomes everyone's project. It becomes everyone is a support, and not only the ones that are there in the room, the meet room, but also the people that have gone before you, a decade before you, are part of that really tight friendship. And, you find your people, as you said.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Chris, can you finish us off there, please, with some wisdom words?
Yeah. I was just going to say I was at work this week in a job which, by the way, I'm not sure I'd even have if I wasn't an innovator, because, well, I'm sure that influenced it somehow. And as some of you might know, lots of parts of Australia are in lockdown at the moment. Everyone's panicking at the moment about how are we going to do. We've got HSC trials coming up in New South Wales. We've got big exams coming up. It's that time of year for us. And everyone's panicking about how we're going to do these exams if we're all in remote learning. And so I've been bombarded with requests from every school jurisdiction in Australia this week on how do we do this? How can Google help do this? So I started hunting around to see what the solution was. And I came across a thing called ChromeX, which I'd never heard of. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Yeah, Darren's nodding. An amazing tool that uses it's all built on Google. It's built on the whole Google platform that does remote learning and testing. And I dug into it, and the more I tested, I mean, this is incredible. This is like the best thing I've ever seen for remote testing. When I really dug into it, turns out it's made by a Swedish company that's owned by two innovators that started this as their Innovator project, right? And now I think it's one of the best online testing platforms I've ever seen. And it just started as a project from these two guys from an Innovator project. And I haven't asked them, but I'm sure their how might be was something like, how might we help students deal with online testing, or something to that effect. So it just goes to show just these ideas can scope out and grow really big. They did over 1 million tests globally last year, and 1/3 of Sweden's schools do their testing through this platform. So we talk about 10xing your thinking, come up with an idea that's big and bold and hairy and audacious and scary. Like, that's the sort of idea you want to be thinking about. Like, how might we do something that not just chips away at something small and achievable, but big and ridiculous?
Absolutely. I'm going to stop sharing this tab and go to this tab, if I can remember what I'm doing here. And just in the last few minutes, I'm just going to, where's the share button? There it is. Look at that. A tab. Yep, I can do that. And I've got a jam board here that I absolutely lifted from the VIA 20 preparation. And I'm going to ask the innovators, can you put your how might we statement in here? But if you are an applicant and you haven't formulated your how might we statement yet, don't worry about it. Just pop it in there. Which of these elements of transformation does your challenge resonate with? So let's have a look. I'm just going to go along here. I think Maria has already put the link in there again. If you're not used to using a Jamboard, here are the protocols here. This is a sticky note over here, and I've got it here on the screen here. Once you click on that, you can add your text to that. You can choose a different color and so forth, and then you save that and cancel out of that option, and you can move this around anywhere like that. So if this is new to you, please jump in and try it out. Innovators, I'm going to share this with people in the description when I post the video online. So we've got about 4 or 5 minutes left. So there's a couple of pages here. There's the learning, the community engagement. There's a couple of people there. Katie and Maria had community engagement, funding and sustainability. I did a technology element. There's vision, culture, and nothing. So I'm just going to leave that open there. If any of the applicants want to put in, you don't have to formulate it, as I said, in a how might we statement, but if your challenge is one of those elements, you can just drop it in there. But we're going to, I love this celebrate, yeah. Celebrate, yeah, I like this. So it is.
I did it again, I'm sorry.
It is virtual celebrate. Yeah, I like that. Innovator program saved you. Don't worry. Shush.
No, sorry. It was a typo, but it was a good typo.
Yeah, well, Jess has picked it up and she's running with it. Celebrate, virtual celebration.
It was intentional, obviously.
Absolutely. We Aussies know what we're doing.
We won't talk about my typos.
No.
Yeah, no.
So, yes, Ted, that was a very brief session there on Jamboard, but I like to start a Jamboard. See, we've got 2 minutes left. I do like to start a Jamboard with, just going back, with a protocol, how to use the Jamboard, and it's just a reminder for people who haven't used it before. We don't want to show them up. They can come back and look at this, and they can also refer to it back if they haven't used it for a while. Sometimes I add another slide in the second or third slide in here. I add another slide to explain what protocol we're using. It might be an Edge protocol. We might be focusing on a brainstorming or whatever, and I add that in as well. And it really helps people when they come back and look at that resource as well. So I don't think there's anything else there. And yeah, okay, Juliet has the screen now. I love it. So thanks very much, everyone. I don't think there's anything else there to add to that.
Can I just make one comment?
Q&A doc. Yeah, go on.
And I'm going to say this, and I want it to be taken in the spirit in which it's meant.
Oh, gosh, with great love. Yeah, go on.
Every culture in the world has different attitudes to different things. And I know, because I work with many people throughout the Asia Pacific region, that there's a cultural thing in many countries in this region about not big noting yourself, about not holding yourself up on a pedestal and not drawing attention to yourself. And I just want to say that it's okay to do that. So, I know sometimes it might make you feel uncomfortable to sort of talk about yourself and talk about you and everything else. But for the purpose of this exercise, I want you to get past that. And I want you to just say, for this, it's okay. Okay. It's all right to talk about yourself. It's all right to talk about your achievements and what you've done and hold yourself up as someone who is special enough to be part of this program. This is not the time to be shy. Okay.
And I just wanted to say I answered a couple of questions in the Q&A, and yeah, it's been lovely seeing all of you, and we'll see some of you hopefully at the VIA 20 showcase tomorrow. So that's kind of the 1-year event after graduation. That's what we get to look forward to, and hearing everyone's projects and everything, which is just usually mind-blowing. You see how everyone takes things in so many different directions and does amazing things. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Yes, it's really exciting. Jess, thanks so much for coming on board and keeping us on track.
No worries.
Okay, and thanks so much, Chris, for coming on board. It's really great to have Googlers in the house and all these innovators. I think innovators outnumbered applicants at the moment. Yes.